Imagine $1 million. For 50 years, this number has been the ultimate symbol of American success. It was the finish line, the golden ticket to a life of golf courses and beach houses. But I have a cold, hard truth for you. In 2026, $1 million isn't a fortune anymore. It's a dangerous trap. If you retire with exactly $1 million today, you aren't rich. You're just middle class with a countdown clock on your bank account. The core argument: most people focus on the net worth number, but net worth often includes home equity. You cannot buy groceries with the bricks of your house. You need liquid cash flow. We are going to break down the velocity of depletion, how fast $1 million actually disappears in the modern world. Section 2, I achieve silent killers. Killer 1, the tax time bomb. If your $1 million is in a traditional 401k or IRA, that money hasn't been taxed yet. Depending on your state, the IRS might take 20% to 30% of every withdrawal. Reality check: your $1 million is actually $750,000. You lost $250,000 before you even spent a cent. Killer 2, the healthcare monopoly. According to Fidelity, an average retired couple needs over $315,000 for medical costs. Medicare doesn't cover everything. Long-term care, dental, and vision will bleed your million dry. Killer 3, lifestyle creep and inflation. Explain that $1 million in 1990 had the purchasing power of $2.4 million today. If you want the millionaire lifestyle of the 90s, you actually need $2.50 million today. Killer 4, the sequence returns risk. This is a technical point that keeps viewers engaged. If the stock market drops 20% in the first year of your retirement, your $1 million becomes $800K. If you still withdraw money, your portfolio can never recover. This is the velocity of failure. SCT on 3, debunking the 4% rule. What is the 4% rule? Explain the Trinity study. $1 million equals $40,000 per year. The math of poverty. $40K a year in a city like Austin, Seattle, or New York is almost impossible. After taxes, you are looking at $2,800 a month. Breakdown of expenses. Rent/mortgage, $1,800. Health insurance, $500. Groceries, $400. Utilities, $200. Remaining, $100. You are already in debt. Section 4. C'est bi salutien. C'est bi alutien. Inevolosi point. The $500K pivot. Remind them that getting to $500K is the hardest part. The bridge strategy. Don't just save. Create cash flow engines. Dividends and real estate. Explain how a $1 million portfolio of high-yield dividends is 10x better than $1 million in a stagnant savings account. The safety multiple. Instead of 25x expenses, in 2026, you need 33x expenses to be truly safe. Step 1. Kill the net worth ego. Focus on investable assets. Step 2. Maximize Roth accounts to avoid the tax bomb. Step 3. Don't retire from something. Retire to something. $1 million is no longer the destination. It's just a pit stop on the way to true freedom. If you want to know the exact math of how to reach your first $500K so the rest becomes automatic, watch this video next. Most people look at their 401k or traditional IRA balance and see a number like $1 million. They feel a sense of pride. They feel safe. But there is a psychological trap here that leads to total financial ruin. You need to understand that you do not own that $1 million. You are merely a custodian for the Internal Revenue Service. Think about it. Every dollar you put into that 401k was pre-tax. You got a break when you were working, but the government isn't giving you that money for free. They're simply waiting. They're patient. They're waiting for you to be at your most vulnerable, retirement, to collect their share. If you withdraw $40,000 a year to live, the IRS doesn't see a retiree trying to survive. They see a taxable event. Depending on your tax bracket in your state, you could be losing 20%, 25%, or even 30% of your purchasing power before you even buy a gallon of milk. This is why we call it a time bomb. If tax rates rise in the future to cover national debt, which is highly likely by 2030 or 2040, your $1 million nest egg effectively shrinks into a $600,000 or $700,000 reality. You must shift your mindset from gross wealth to spendable cash flow. Killer number 2, the healthcare monopoly, the $315,000 entry fee. The second killer is perhaps the most brutal because it's unpredictable. In the United States, healthcare is not a service. It's a monopoly on your survival. Recent data shows that a 65-year-old couple retiring today will need approximately $315,000 just to cover healthcare expenses in retirement. And here's the kicker. That number does not include long-term care. If you or your spouse requires a nursing home or assisted living, you are looking at costs ranging from $5,000 to $10,000 per month. At that velocity of spending, your $1 million portfolio will be incinerated in less than 5 years. The myth is that Medicare covers everything. The reality is that Medicare is a Swiss cheese policy full of holes. You have premiums, deductibles, and copays. If you haven't factored in a massive medical buffer outside of your $1 million, you aren't retired. You're just waiting for a hospital bill to bankrupt you. Killer number 3, lifestyle creep and the inflation ghost. Let's talk about the inflation ghost. Inflation isn't just a number on the news. It is the slow erosion of your freedom. If you saw the $500 K velocity point video, you know that money needs to work faster than you do. But inflation works even faster than money. In 1990, $1 million allowed you to live like royalty. Today in 2026, due to the massive printing of currency and the rising cost of non-discretionary goods, things you have to buy, like energy and food, the purchasing power of that million has collapsed by over 50%. When you retire, you aren't just fighting to keep your money. You are fighting to keep the value of your money. If your portfolio is stuck in safe investments like bonds or CDs yielding 3%, and real-world inflation is 5%, you are actually losing 2% of your wealth every single year. You are getting poorer while your bank balance stays the same. This is why hitting the velocity point is crucial. Your growth must outpace the ghost of inflation, or you will end up broke with $1 million in the bank. Killer number 4, sequence of returns risk, the math of failure. This is the most technical killer, and it's the one that catches smart investors off guard. It's called sequence of returns risk. Most people assume that if the stock market averages 7% over 30 years, they are safe. That is a lie. The order in which you get those returns matters more than the average. If the market crashes in years 1, 2, and 3 of your retirement, just as you start withdrawing money to pay for your life, you are selling your stocks at the bottom. You are cannibalizing your seed corn. Because you are withdrawing while the market is down, your portfolio loses its velocity. It can never recover. You could have $1 million on day 1, and because of a poorly timed recession, be down to $400,000 by year 5. This is why relying on a single number is a myth. You need a strategy that protects your velocity during the down years. Tim is a hardworking American who did everything by the book. He saved for 40 years, maximized his company match, and on the day he retired, his dashboard showed a beautiful round number, $1 million. Tim feels like a king. He plans to use the 4% rule, which gives him $40,000 a year. But Tim's money is all in a traditional 401k. Here's where the math gets ugly. Tim lives in a state with moderate income tax. The federal cut. The IRS takes roughly 1/5 to 2% of his $40,000 withdrawal. That's $8,000 gone instantly. The state cut. His state takes another 5%. That's $2,000 more. The net reality, Tim's $40,000 is now $30,000. Tim is trying to live on $2,500 a month in 2026. His housing costs are $1,500. His groceries are $500. His utilities and basic insurance are $400. Tim has $100 left for everything else: travel, hobbies, or emergency repairs. Tim has $1 million, but he is living in poverty. He has no velocity because his withdrawals are being sucked dry by taxes and inflation. One bad medical bill and Tim's $1 million dream becomes a nightmare. The case of strategic Sarah, the velocity point expert. Now let's look at Sarah. Sarah also has a $1 million net worth, but she understood the $500 K velocity point. She didn't just save. She positioned her assets for tax-free velocity. The Roth strategy. $500,000 of her money is in a Roth IRA. When she takes out $20,000, she keeps all $20,000. The IRS gets $0. The dividend engine. The other $500,000 is in a brokerage account focused on high-quality dividend growth stocks. This money generates its own income without Sarah having to sell her shares. The result. Sarah also takes out $40,000 a year, but because of her tax-efficient setup, she keeps $38,000 of it. Sarah has $8,000 more per year than Tim, despite having the same number in the bank. That $8,000 is her safety buffer. While Tim is stressed about the price of gas, Sarah's money is still growing because she hit the velocity point where her investments work faster than her spending. Now that we've exposed the millionaire myth and seen how traditional Tim's dream turned into a struggle, you're probably asking, what is the solution? If $1 million isn't enough, what should I be doing? The answer isn't just to save more money. The answer is to change the velocity of your wealth. You need to stop aiming for a static pile of cash and start building a cash flow machine. Here is the 3-step blueprint to retiring safely in 2026. Step 1, the 33x rule. For years, the standard was the 25x rule, saving 25 times your annual expenses. But in an era of high inflation and unpredictable healthcare costs, that's no longer safe. The new standard, aim for 33x your annual expenses. If you need $60,000 a year to live comfortably, don't stop at $1.50 million. Your target should be closer to $2 million. Why? Because that extra buffer protects your velocity. It ensures that even in a bad market year, you aren't forced to sell your assets at a loss. Step 2. Prioritize tax-free velocity. Remember Tim? He lost 25% of his wealth to the IRS because he only used a traditional 401k. You must diversify your tax buckets. The strategy. Every dollar you put into a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k is worth nearly 30% more in retirement than a dollar in a traditional account. By paying the taxes now, you ensure that when you hit your retirement age, 100% of that velocity belongs to you, not the government. Step 3. Reach the $500 K pivot point faster. As we discussed in our previous analysis, the first $500,000 is the hardest. It is 90% discipline and 10% math. But once you cross that $500 K threshold, the velocity of compounding takes over. At a 7% return, $500,000 generates $35,000 a year in growth without you lifting a finger. This is where you stop being a saver and start being an owner. Your goal should be to reach this pivot point as early as possible so that the journey from $500 K to $1 M plus happens automatically. Step 4. The non-liquid reality check. Stop counting your home equity as part of your retirement number. You cannot pay for a heart surgeon with a piece of your roof. When calculating your retirement readiness, only count investable assets. Stocks, bonds, cash, and rental income. If your $1 million is 60% home equity, you aren't a millionaire. You're just a person with an expensive place to sleep. We have covered a lot of ground today. We've looked at the tax time bomb that's waiting to explode in your 401k. We've looked at the healthcare monopoly that could drain your life savings in a single year. And we've seen why, in 2026, $1 million is no longer a luxury, just a baseline for survival. But I don't want you to leave this video feeling discouraged. I want you to leave feeling empowered. The secret isn't just to work harder and save more. The secret is to change the velocity of your wealth. You see, the difference between traditional Tim and strategic Sarah wasn't how much they made. It was how they positioned what they made. If you focus on investable assets rather than just home equity, and if you prioritize tax-free growth through Roth accounts and the goal is cash flow independence. If you are still watching this, it means you are part of the top 1% who actually cares enough about their future to study the math. You are the one who is going to make it, but you can't stop here. If you want to know the exact step-by-step roadmap to reaching that $500,000 velocity point, the point where your money starts growing faster than your salary, then you need to watch this next breakdown right here. Don't just save for retirement. Build a life you don't need a retirement from. I'm Munich Fiance. I see you in next video. Subscribe.